So, the center, the space, and the sacred. All of this information comes from this book, The Awakening of Intelligence. Go check it out. So, we're going to do a deep dive into Krishnamurti's vision of psychological freedom. Introduction. Why are we confined? First of all, there is physical and psychological confinement. Human beings live in a confined space, not just physical, but psychological. There is a center, we could call it the me. We think, act, and feel from a center. It's the sense of self, right? Next, limited space creation. This center, this me, creates its own limited space. Now, the core question to ask, is there space beyond the limits of the self? The center and the space it creates. The center defined. This center, this me, it is the self image, it is the observer, it is the experiencer, it is the thinker. Next, the limitations of the space. The center defines and limits the space around it, like walls in a room. The space in me is the space in which the center has created around itself. As long as this center is active, space is always limited. There are two types of space: manufactured space, by the ego, by the thinker, and then there's natural intervals. These intervals appear briefly, and it's the intervals between thoughts. There is a space around the center, and then there is space between two thoughts. What to observe? In the silent gaps between thoughts, another kind of space becomes visible. Be proactive and take notice. The space of isolation. One, mental images. We carry mental images of each other, even ourselves. This leads to separation, misunderstanding, and division. This space is not freedom. It is a psychological prison. All right? The space in which the center creates around itself is the space of isolation. This space is not freedom. Remember that. The observer and the observed. The center is the observer. It always sees through its own filters. When observing nature, others, or yourself, there is distance. And last but not least, when there is a center, there is always division and space, never unity. When there is and sorry if my thing is cut off, but I said it out loud, so you're good to go. Why is there always conflict? There is conflict between the observer and the observed, and this creates a battle. All right, this friction. And we develop an effort to overcome. The mind tries to overcome this space with effort to be better. But this effort is still movement within the same limited space. The center cannot solve the problem it created. It is the problem. All right? I need to be better. I am not enough. Cannot solve that while still being in the same space. You have to move beyond that. Delusion of sacredness. Our search for the sacred, the holy, and the meaningful often comes from our own psychological conditioning. Even spiritual longing becomes another form of escape, another pursuit of security. If the center seeks the sacred, it turns it into another possession. Give me 1 second. I gotta charge my laptop. And all of this springs from the center. If the center seeks the sacred, it turns the sacred into another possession. True sacredness requires immense space. When the center is not in operation, then there is vast space. There is something really sacred. It is not between thoughts. It is beyond the whole process of thought, all right? We have to move beyond the process of thought. The space cannot be discovered I mean, the space cannot be created, it can only be discovered. All right? When the center is not in operation, then there is vast space. Only when the center is silent does the immeasurable become visible. All right? Content equals consciousness. The center is content. All right? The center is the content of consciousness. If all content ceases, can consciousness still exist? All right? Silence is not emptiness, it is freedom from content. All right? So remember that. Silence is not emptiness, it is freedom from content. Time, thought, and manufactured space. Thought is equal to time, and the center exists in thought. So all space created by thought is still part of time. It is not freedom. It is still confinement. It is manufactured space. Even beautiful, still confinement. All right? Space is between two thoughts, between two periods of time. All right? Manufactured space is still confinement. The philosopher's amusement. Speculation keeps the center alive. Real discovery means seeing what is, not imagining what could be. All right? No more speculations. Begin with seeing. A lot of relationships fail because of this simple reason. A lot of people don't see their partners for what they are. They imagine what their partner can be. They in love with their image of the partner, but not the reality of their partner. To speculate about what's beyond all of that is a philosopher's amusement. No more speculation, begin with seeing. Final insight. Can the center be still? As long as the center moves, all it sees is itself. If it is truly silent, the sacred may appear. If it doesn't fade away, content will create space and call it vast. Can the center fade not through effort, but through insight? Closing reflection questions. 1. Where do I operate from? The center or from stillness? Can I observe without naming, comparing, or judging? And last but not least, what happens if I do not seek to change anything? Can you continue going on? And also notice, especially from my own understandings, is why is there discomfort in silence? Why is there discomfort from existing within the void? Why is there just that is my question, is why is there a certain type of discomfort with the void, with the absence, with the silence? And that is all I have for today. Hope everyone is doing great and keep on going. That's it.